Hey, what's up guys? Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and I've got a video for you today. Now this won't be like my normal in-depth reviews after a lot of use because I'm just borrowing this, but I did, when my buddy gave this to me to do some sharpening video, or to do some sharpening on, I said, man, I gotta do a video on this because this thing is super cool, and it is the Benchmade Vicar, the 757 Vicar. So stick around, I'm going to switch the camera up and give you a close-up view of this awesome knife. Okay guys, so here we are, and again, man, I love this thing. Like I said, this is going to be a bit of a first impressions video because I haven't carried this for a few weeks. I haven't gotten my, I haven't had it day in, day out to really feel what it's all about. But I did want to make a video on it because my first impressions were so good. And let me tell you, the very first thing I noticed about this, aside from the looks, which, I mean, I don't know, I think most people would agree this is a pretty sweet looking knife. But my first impressions when I first held it and it was closed, it felt good in hand. It wasn't too heavy like the Adamas, who has the same designer, but it just felt good. And then the first time I opened it, I was hooked. This thing is absolutely buttery smooth. These are two big titanium slabs with 2 layers of G10 over top of them. But this is not like just some steel liners. These are full titanium, and that's part of the what adds to the price of this. So these are titanium, the pocket clip is titanium, and they're anodized almost like a light gold. Nice and classy, really. But these things are just butter to open and close. I'm a lefty, and if you guys know that, if you know that if you've been following the channel, but that's why I generally prefer the axis lock, because it's ambidextrous. But and I've stayed away from liner locks or frame locks for this reason. But after handling this, this is something that I could buy if only the pocket clip were reversible. But sadly, this is really set up for right hand carry only. There are no holes over here, and it would have to be a different clip because it's specially formed. But anyway, not exactly lefty friendly, but so smooth and easy to operate that it really doesn't matter. I can operate this super easily with my thumb. It's really easy to pull that bar over, and yet it still gives a very solid lockup. And that was my first impression. I opened it up and I just couldn't believe, first of all, that awesome snap that it gives when you open it, and then the ergos once you have it in your hand. Now, I wear a size XL glove, guys, and I can 4-finger grip comfortably within this, and I still have, even if I hammer grip it, which is I rarely do, I almost always have it like this when I'm using a knife. But even if you had gigantic, like, massive meat claws, you could still get a full grip on this, and it would be quite comfortable. This little swell right here, palm swell is nice. This swell and then the palm swell is nice. It's got some of this big jimping on the back here, which works well. It's got some jimping up here, which is useful, but not like flesh ripping. And this G10 is very grippy. And when I did put it in my pocket, I noticed this stuff was quite abrasive, but as with all these, that'll go away after a little while. Anyway, first impressions of this knife, ridiculously smooth, pretty big, and really ergonomic in the hand. It reminded me somewhat of my Benchmade Contigo, except for quite a bit smoother. Different ergos, but this thing is definitely like a new level of smooth. And axis locks are always nice and smooth and fast, but man, this thing is just kind of like next level. This operates like a blade that's much smaller. This thing comes out with the same type of ease as like a Benchmade 940, like my all-time favorite blade. So handles like a much smaller knife, but as you can see, it has some serious heft and beef to it. But it's not too heavy. Now, I'm not one of these guys that just spits out technical facts. I just give you my impressions of the knife and how I like it. It's great. It weighs a little bit less than my Contigo, I would say. Let's talk about the blade, because the blade's always the most important part of the knife, right? S30V, which is Benchmade always does a good job heat treating their S30V, and in my experience, that it's quite a bit harder than Spyderco's. I recently had a Manix 2 from a friend, and I went to reprofile it, and it was super easy. The stuff just came off like nothing, and I was kind of surprised because the Benchmades that I've had in S30V are quite a bit harder to reprofile. And this was no different than that. I had to reprofile this. From the factory, this bevel was maybe a 1/16 of an inch wide. And let me zoom in a little bit and show you this. This bevel was just crazy small. I mean, super steep angle, talking like 35 degrees or steeper, especially up front. Down here, not so much, but up front, really bad. So I had to reprofile in it, and it took me quite a while, but I did end up putting a half decent edge on there. It's not quite mirror polished. I haven't stropped it that much, but it is more than hair popping sharp. And even with such thick blade stock up there, it still does a great job, and it's pretty thick behind the edge too. Actually, very thick. But the way it slices, even with that thickness, is pretty amazing. But anyway, great edge on it now. But look at this blade. Part of what I love about this knife, you know, you've got this contour up here, then this strange little drop. It's not like a drop point. It's not like a reverse tanta. I don't know. It's kind of somewhere in between a few different grinds, but I really like it. Got this nice big fuller, comes all the way out here, then your flat grind extends all the way out almost to the end. It would have if they didn't put this huge swedge up top, which I really like. Really like that. And then you can see the grind is you know, maybe about half the breadth of the blade here, but then it narrows out significantly at the front. And I think they did that to keep a lot of the tip strength on this, as it was kind of designed as a tactical type knife, and they did. I mean, there's a lot of meat at the end of this blade. See if it'll focus there. Yeah, I mean, look at all that meat out there. Look at the width of that tip, how much I had to file back. But anyway, you know, as far as being a tactical, tough blade, certainly gets the job done, but it can also do your EDC slicing and dicing with ease. Great blade. So let's pull back out here, give you a little bit. This is kind of what it looks like just by itself. Love this blade, guys. This, being a lefty, I love the axis, but this is super tempting just because of the smoothness. It's certainly not in the budget right now, because, you know, I think this thing retails for a little over $300, and you can find it on Amazon for like $250. So definitely a little rich for my blood, but an awesome knife, and in my opinion, it'd be worth the money if I had the money. Anyway, guys, this is not an in-depth review. It's just my initial impressions, but initial impressions, super solid knife, crazy buttery smooth, very tough lockup side to side, and if you do get lock rock, you can adjust it. Let me zoom in here. You can adjust it with this stop pin here. You can see that's not a round stop pin, it's hexagonal, and the way they ground it is when you take these scales off, you twist it, and it's like concentric, so it'll adjust how far out your blade locks. So you could, you know, have it, well, it's not going to be that dramatic, but it's going to affect where your blade locks up, and therefore that's going to affect how much, whether it locks up super early, or whether, I mean, you could have it almost at 100% lockup, which you wouldn't want. But anyway, it's neat that they made it adjustable. So there you have it, guys. There is the Benchmade 757 Vicar. Really cool knife. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. God bless you guys as always, and I hope to see you next time.